first of all, Hulk obviously had Vince McMahon Jr.'s ear, right?
Mm.
He was the one that Vince wanted. Hulk had just been working for the past year for Vern Gagne. Not only was he probably aggravated at Vern because Vern wouldn't give him the belt, but also he knew all these guys on a personal basis because he was working with them every night and he was in the locker room with them. He brought David Schultz because he wanted a big heel to work with that could get heat on him and get him over. He I obviously like Gene Okerlund, I'm sure said, oh, this guy's entertaining because he knows how to do my shtick and interview me. Jesse Ventura. Well, they're fucking Hulk. Ventura is a guy he looked up to. He was a muscle man with the bleached blonde hair and the rap and the interview from the previous generation. But he was starting to slow down and he could do commentary. A lot of that, remember, has to be Hulk making recommendations to Vince who wants to expand nationally. Meanwhile, I'm sure the last thing that Hulk probably wanted in the WWF to compete against him before he got over and became Hulk Hogan, was Ric Flair or Dusty Rhodes. Because one of them could easily fucking catch at that point, might not be what Vince had thought. Imagine that. Sometimes Vince is wrong, sometimes he's right. But it might not even have been Vince's vision, but Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes could have, before Hulk Hogan became Hulk Hogan, just as soon shot past him some kind of way. So I'm sure. And that it was, once again, it was guys who Hogan was familiar with and guys that Vince viewed as national stars because Vern had the big Midwest territory and he had his eye on that territory. He knew that the South was a different animal. He knew that the regular towns and the Southern style wrestling, especially in the Carolinas, which was had a history of doing great business, and Louisiana, Mid-South had a history of doing great business. That'd be a tough nut to crack. And even he found out when he got into Atlanta, when he orchestrated the buyout and got the TBS television show in 1984, and the fans started writing in, what is this shit? We want our Gordon Soley wrestling back. And he ended up having to sell the slot a year later because people were upset. Ted Turner was upset. He wasn't ready to go into the South yet. So he wasn't going to try to make a play for their wrestlers because he saw that he could probably take over in the Midwest, and he had advantages in St. Louis and et cetera, and out on the West Coast where they were already established. But he wasn't going, that was the last bastion, that Mason-Dixon line was one he didn't want to cross till he'd made some money because he could very easily have lost it down there.